Yes, them have the heart of a pagan. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil a move with Satan. Righteous trod in the countenance of the Almighty One. Them have the heart of demons. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil a move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Good people see hostility rising daily.
With I.S.U.P.K, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, from 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York. This troop started in 1969 under Commander General YAHANNA. And we're up here to raise blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native American Indians, and teach them this truth. And what we're gonna prove is that Christ didn't die for everybody. We're going to start with Matthew chapter 1, verse 21. Because it's a lie in the Christian church that Christ died for everybody. Christ didn't die for everybody, and we're about to prove it right now. Not my words, not any of these brothers' words, but with the words that come out of this Bible. Read on.
Matthew chapter 1. Verse 21, and she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus.
You heard that? The mother of Jesus Christ was with child. An angel spoke to her and said she's gonna bring a son, and his name will be Jesus. So we know who we're talking about right now. Keep reading, brother.
For he shall save his people.
Read that again.
For he shall save his people. For he shall save his people.
Now who is his people? Who is the Most High talking about? Is that talking about everybody? I don't think so. That's why it's his. His is a possessive pronoun. That's not everyone. Like his jacket, or his car, or his house, or his woman. Christ only came for his people. Read it again.
For he shall save.
Read it from the top.
And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus. For he shall save his people from their sins.
So Christ came for his people, not the whole world, not for the Chinese, not for the Japanese, not for the Africans, and certainly not for the white man. Read it again.
For he shall save his people from their sins.
And say it again.
For he shall save his people from their sins.
Say it one more time, in case it ain't hear you.
For he shall save his people from their sins.
His people, not everybody. When he's talking about his people, these people on the sign, the so-called African American, the so-called Native American Indian, the so-called Hispanic. But we're going to further prove it with more scriptures. Give me Matthew chapter 10, verse 5. Because the Christian church is full of lies. America's full of lies. They tell you this Bible's for everybody. This Bible ain't for everybody. And if you think so, then hell, you gotta prove it. Ready? And we can prove it. Read on, brother.
Matthew chapter 10, verse 5. These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not in the way of the Gentiles.
Go what?
Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Now these are twice Christ's 12 disciples he's talking about. He said, go not into the way of the Gentiles. And who are the Gentiles? The heathen nations. Don't go to the Africans. Don't go to the Chinese. Don't go to the white man. Read it again from the top.
Matthew chapter 10, verse 5. These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not.
Christ said, don't go to the Africans. That's who the Samaritans are. He didn't want you to mingle, mix with them, get along with them, break bread with them. And definitely don't teach them this Bible, because God didn't come to save everybody. Christ didn't die for everybody. Keep reading.
Verse 6. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house.
Go what?
But go rather.
Go what?
But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Go rather, which means instead, which means don't go to this people, but go to these people over here. Read it again.
But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
But instead, go into the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Go to black people and tell them that Christ is black. Go to Hispanic people and tell that Jesucristo is negro.
That's right.
And go to Native Indians and tell them that Christ is a black man. And tell them that they're the Jews of the Bible. Tell them that the white man is a devil. And that's what Christ sent his disciples for. He didn't send them to go to no Africans, or no Chinese, or no East Indians, or no white man. He don't matter. It doesn't matter how Christian you are. You're not from his family. You ain't from this house. Like how we say in the hood, you're not from my block. Read it again from the top.
These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles.
He said, go not into the way of the Gentiles. That's Christ speaking. You gonna tell me Christ is a liar? You telling me that Christ didn't know who he came for? He told his disciples, don't go to the heathens.
That's right.
I'm not saying it. The Bible is saying it. The Lord is saying it.
Right.
I'm not saying it.
Right.
If you're denying these words, you're denying Christ.
That's right.
Yes, them have the heart of a pagan. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. Righteous trod in the countenance of the Almighty One. Them have the heart of demons. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Poor people see hostility rising daily. Ignorant multiply brutality. I see that they run gone left mommy. Fi struggle the hard road with fight beginning. Our I see baby having baby. Nothing that happen.